Hello, my name is Dan Paulson, and this is video number 5 in a series where I'm interpreting the Gospel of Thomas in a certain way where I play it out in the psyche, and then the interpretation is something that becomes mentally interactive. In the previous videos, I've worked on setting this up on how I do it and talking through the whole process, and it's quite extensive, so I'm going to just get into the interpretation here. It's almost completed, verse 97 up to the end. Plus, I'm going to go back and grab a few that were skipped along the way that I had to look at a little bit more. And actually, there's at least one or two that I don't have completed or interpreted because they just sound kind of goofy or they're too fragmentary. In this video, I'm going to finish it up. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll post a link below to the first videos. If you're really interested in what I'm doing here, I'd recommend going through them in sequence. And once I'm completed with this, I'll put out one more video in the end that just reads all of the verses all the way through, except instead of reading somebody's interpretation, I'll be reading my interpretation, my plain language interpretation. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. All right, I'm going to drop back to 25. I had skipped that one the first time through. Jesus said, "Love your brother like your soul. Guard him like the pupil of your eye." So what I have here is the pupil of your eye is the bundle of memories, specifically the memories and their emotional states that we experience our personal life through. Careful reference here is made to the third eye in Egyptian works. These are the same thing, or it's the same thing. We want the mote out of our eye. Mote is analogous for the mass we view life through. That is only and always our conditioned memories. Guarding the eye would mean being careful of what you judge and connect to. We will experience life through those judgments. Okay, you understand that? That's important about the eye. This is something that has been bantied about quite a bit. There's people that have this idea that it's a pituitary thing and that drinking water with calcium in it is somehow has effect over that. The way that we view life is based on the mass of experiences and that we've judged them. When you come from a hurt place, you're going to judge it with those parameters. When you come from a good place, you're going to judge it with those parameters. So essentially, when we're viewing life, we're viewing it through the way we have the accumulated mass of stored experiences. And when that is very hurt, we see life very hurt. That when this is rectified, and by rectified, what I mean is that it isn't hurt anymore. We still have our life experiences. You cannot erase that. What we have to do is learn to be okay with things and let go of the past so that we're no longer connected with it. That is what hurts us. Guarding your eye then is what? It can't be about the physical self. What you look at in the physical world, anything is visible. You don't know what you're going to see. What is important is to understand that we are viewing our life through this massive perception. That is what we're seeing through. It's not visual sight. It is the sight of the flavor of life, your life experience itself. Okay, so let's go back and look at it again. The pupil of your eye, the bundle of memories. Guard him like the pupil of your eye. So let me go on. Love your brother like your soul seems to work out mentally as do unto others as a cause and effect direction. Love your brother like your soul can also be worded as be to others as you would have them be to you. Then guard him like the pupil of your eye would be to understand that they are also living through their massive memories and are not awakened to or not self-aware of that. So I've reworded that one to say, for 25, love others as you would love yourself. Understand we are all living through our memories. Okay, that was that verse 25. The 29, I am still going to skip. If the flesh came into being because of spirit, it's a wonder, but if spirit came into being because of a body, it's a wonder of wonders. Indeed, I'm amazed at how this great wealth has made its home in this poverty. Let's save that to the end and take a look at it again. What else did I skip down here? There should be another one. 50. Here's another one. Get back to this one. It seems to create a memory. Yeah, okay, that's another one I'm going to skip. It looks a bit odd. 53. What do we have here? His disciples said to him, "Is circumcision beneficial or not?" He said to them, "If it were beneficial, their father would beget them already circumcised from their mother. Rather, the true circumcision in spirit has become completely profitable." Is it good to circumcise? Let's see. The circumcision is an analog developed in Genesis. We know what circumcision is, cutting off the foreskin of the boy's penis. Day 7 is a critical teaching in the Abrahamic material, and I've covered that quite a bit in other videos. The day 7 comes from, after day 7 comes first sin. So 8, and these aren't really days, these are just holding day 7 is a period of time where that describes us, where we are children that have not yet begun judging life. We're still happy. Life experience changes from our peaceful, naked state to a covered in judgment garments, basically. Our pain, shame, hurt. Life goes bad. This is one day after day 7. This is the same as first sin, right after day 7. We have life experiences and store them in our brains. This analog says that what we procreate with has offspring. What we experience continues to emerge. Circumcision refers to a mental state, a state where we stop creating offspring from our physical experiences. That means to let go and stop judging things and growing into that. This teaching takes it away from Jewish preferences, but I agree with this one. We evolved with foreskins, and Jesus encrypts that here. Yeah, we have foreskins for a reason. Is it good to circumcise? He replied, if it was beneficial, we would be born that way. The true meaning is a spiritual one. If we need to stop judging life experiences, we step back. We need to cut off what we have created through life experiences. So let me do a few changes here. This one is completed. Oops. Actually, this one up here, the first one. I have everything that is everything that is black, and then green is the notes, and then red is my interpretation. So I'll change, once I've got them done, I'll change them all. That way the blue ones I know are the ones I still have left. Okay, continuing on here. Yeah, let's see. 61. All right, looks like I've tried to get that one completed. Jesus said, two will rest on a bed, the one will die and the other will live. Salome said, who are you, man, that you have come up on my couch and eaten from my table? You see, there's some stuff missing from there. Jesus said to her, I am he who exists from the undivided. I was given some of the things of my Father. Then there's an I am your disciple. That's not enough there to make out what that means. The last sentence, though, therefore I say, if he is destroyed, he will be filled with light, but if he is divided, he will be filled with darkness. I got a verse 67 there. It's kind of like that one. This one is fragmentary, but enough is intact to get the gist of the teaching. In this case, I see several parts to glean. The first part is about being divided. I don't get the Salome setup, but other than perhaps another weird question asked in order to set up the cryptic teaching, Jesus says he exists from what is essentially unity, not divided. So Jesus represents unity. And that's unity of us. That's unity of mind and body. When you're sitting there in mental peace, nothing occurs to your mind that makes you go, oh crap, I don't have this dealt with. That's a division. We've got all that stuff resolved. The Father is our higher self in this verse's hierarchy. Jesus is our consciousness that has learned to work with the higher self. We have learned to become emotionally detached in the same manner as our higher awareness. I am your disciple is not complete enough for me to understand it. Light means we are fully illuminated, like naked and unashamed. If we are full of light, we harbor no personal inner fears and shames. Everything we have can be brought into the light. We hide nothing in darkness. We feel at ease because we have resolved those things that make us feel inner hurt. We may or may not share this hurt. Only the true seeker can see themselves. This is light. We are not divided when that happens. Destroyed, therefore, means destroying what we have become, like tearing down the house so it can be built again. We do seek to destroy our early self that we became while being unaware that was happening to us. If we do this, we are said to be full of light, which actually means we have no dark spots in our minds left hidden in darkness or behind a feeling of fear. If we don't like them or wish to discuss them to heal from them, we are keeping them in darkness. not using thinking and awareness to resolve them. Further, it teaches us that if we are divided within ourselves in this manner, then indeed it is called darkness. So this one is now interpreted to be, we start out in life becoming divided through our memories and the emotions of them. Jesus is going to be our conscious thinking while we are actively healing ourselves. We will not like it. We will feel the emotions that we need to go through in order to face our fears. The Jesus reference here is the aspect that knows to gently continue on despite the pain that's within us. It knows that will start the healing process which must be done. If we can let go of what we have grasped and become along the way, we will feel free. If we do not let it go, we will not find the mental and spiritual peace we're looking for. This grasping is always and only emotional based in memories. Grasping is not resolving, not letting go. And that is based in emotions. How do you feel about it? If you don't care about it, you've let it go. If you care in some way, you're hanging on to it. So this one I have finished off there. What I've got here, 62. It is to those who are worthy of my mysteries that I tell my mysteries. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And I've got that as only some people will understand and go after this material. It will only be understood by the few. Left and right hand references one I don't have figured out. Casting pearls as a possible parallel. Cast your pearls before the swine and it'll get trampled. It is to those who are worthy of my mysteries that I tell my mysteries. Okay, so I've got number 62 then changed from, it is to those who are worthy of my mysteries that I tell my mysteries. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I've changed that to only a few will understand the secret teaching. It will be revealed to you as you seek it. Do not let the carriers of this material know what you are finding as its real purpose. I don't know if that's the case. I can say that is the case, though. I mean, as far as interpretation, I don't know if that's what it means, but that's what happens in life. When you tell people, hey, there's something mentally interactive in here, many people get upset about that. Let's see. Jesus said, "It's let him who grow rich be king, let him possess power." Okay, that is 81. I'm going to leave that in place. 83. The images are manifest to man. That's another one I don't have finished, 83. There's some in here that are just goofy. Something's wrong with them. It's a fragmentary collection. Let's see, 88 is another one that I don't have done, so I will skip that one. We got the vast majority of it done. 93, it looks like I've got that one finished. Jesus said, do not give what is holy to the dogs, lest they throw them on the dung heap. Do not throw the pearls to the swine, lest they... And then, there's a parallel in the Bible for that one, Matthew 7:6. Similar to the parable of the seeds, this one is, throwing the knowledge on the dung heap is like the seed was planted on stone and did not take root. What is holy is the righteousness of what is real and interactive. People do not tend to like it. This is fragmentary from the source, but we recognize it from Matthew 7:6. Do not give your pearls or what is holy to the swine or the dogs, lest they trample them underfoot or turn and rend or jab or hurt you. Okay, 93 then. Few will understand or comprehend or believe this. Opening up to the masses, you will be ignored or attacked. That's how it interprets. 97. Jesus said, the kingdom of the Father is like a certain woman who is carrying a jar full of meal. While she was walking on the road, still some distance from home, the handle of the jar broke, and the meal emptied out behind her on the road. She did not realize it. She had noticed no accident. When she reached her house, she set the jar down and found it empty. Okay, the kingdom of the Father is our mental experience. That's our kingdom, from the higher self. We live there in our emotional state, but the kingdom of the Father means it is a pure or non-clinging state that we are in. That's what we're looking for, detached. This is from the higher self. Not detached from the higher self, but detached. We're living from the higher self. And the jar represents what is holding our life. We're walking along, carrying our life, and we need to dump it off as we live life, resolving what emerges. We place the emptiness inside of ourselves or our house. This is compare this to Buddha's a seek emptiness, or Jesus, be poor in spirit, empty out. We want that jar empty. That jar represents us. The meal is our life, and we want it emptied out. So then 97 would become, to achieve inner peace, continue to resolve anything along your path till there is nothing left that you cling to. All right, moving on, 98. Jesus said, the kingdom of the Father. There we are again, the kingdom of the Father. This is the kingdom of the higher realm, the higher awareness, is like a certain man who wanted to kill a powerful man. In his own house, he drew his sword and stuck it into the wall in order to find out whether his hand would carry through or could carry through. Then he slew the powerful man. Okay, this is going to, some of this should sound familiar. All of this is, we're trying to figure out how this is a puzzle to our mind. How does this apply to my life? The house is where I live, and I know that there's a powerful man. This is kind of the return of the one, or you're preparing to prepare to kill when it comes back. This is interrupting the cycle. They're putting it another way. Let me just go on and read my notes here. We wish to live life in a state of inner peace, the kingdom of the Father. We know something we have unresolved will still act out. That's the powerful man. Drawing the sword and sticking it into the wall means preparing for this return. Once far enough along, we begin to recognize, and I mean far enough along on our journey of self-discovery, there's a point where we start becoming aware of things internally that we recognize we are repeating something that we want control of, but we're not quite there yet. It still emerges. Once we get here on our path, we begin to prepare for its return instead of realizing after the fact that it just came and went again. Instead of just triggering and going, God, there it happened again. We get to a point where we recognize when it's coming up and it's getting ready to emerge. That's what this preparation is. Now what you do is you think it through. You come up with a game plan when it happens. In the process of thinking this through, you're working on healing. You're addressing it. You're illuminating it. You're bringing it into the light. So you want to resolve it by going after it. The practicing in your own house, you draw your own sword and stuck it into the wall. You are working with what the strong man brings to begin with. You know you've got an issue. You know you've got a seed. You know you've got a memory. You know you've got some anger. You know you've got something unresolved. This is a personal path. It's up to you to say, yeah, I'm doing this or not. It makes a difference if you do it, and it makes a difference if you don't. It's your call. So I've changed this from the kingdom of the Father is like a certain man who wanted to kill a powerful man. In his own house, he drew his sword and stuck it into the wall in order to find out whether his hand could carry through. Then he slew the powerful man. And as I get done thinking it through, I think to myself, prepare for your cycles once you recognize them. They do diminish if you work on them. 99. The disciples said to him, your brothers and your mother are standing outside. He said to them, those here who do the will of my Father are my brothers and my mother. It is they who will enter the kingdom of my Father. All right, this goes from physical to mental. Your brothers and your mother, that refers to your real life mother and sisters. But he goes on to a spiritual, he transitions it to a spiritual teaching. So from physical to mental, this also replicates a biblical teaching that is in a longer narrative. And I've got here blood may be thicker than water, but righteousness is what we truly seek. Clinging to family values is not what we should do or be about. If family values are righteousness, so be it. But we are looking for righteousness or truth and inner peace, not family values. This is kind of telling us you will follow your path. You're not going to be following someone else. You're not going to be, and also to look to the future, not to the past. Look to where you need to go, not to where you came from. And that is something that we have to get to in life. We have to actually resolve the issues we're bringing with us, don't we, in order to have a better life. I've reworded that to say once or where you come from is not our place to be. When we connect with the Father or higher awareness and let go of the past, then we will enter into a peaceful mind state of life. Remember, these are spiritual, not physical. Even if they start out with a physical thing, that's not what we're trying to interpret. We're looking for the spiritual understanding, the mentally interactive interpretation. Okay, 100. They showed Jesus a gold coin and said to him, Caesar's men demand taxes from us. He said to them, Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, give God what belongs to God, and give me what is mine. Okay, physical setup again. Caesar, we live in a society with rules and laws. Religions do not give us permission to ignore those laws. God is the higher self in this hierarchy version of a verse, and Jesus is the conscious seeking self. Jesus, as our awareness, experiences everything. But this is a knowledgeable version of us. We experience our higher awareness from this mental space as well as any current peaceful moment that we have, as well as the emotions of our memories. Our conscious, everything lives, when we live life, we feel it and experience it through our consciousness. But where is it coming from? Is it coming from outside of us? Has it been judged, put away? Now it's coming from inside of us. That is what the issue is. But now we are learning to interact with it and not simply allow our thoughts to flow where they will. We begin to tame them. We begin to drive, not simply go along for the ride. That means we begin to take charge of our life and not simply bounce off of the things that happen all day long going, what now, what now, what now? We get in front of, or we get behind it instead of getting pushed by it. Remember, this is a big body of work. Put it all together. When you look at that, we're actually not driving our life. We're not controlling our life. What we're doing is purifying our eye, our third eye, this mass of memories that we're living through. We live through that. We live through that. We're not trying to make something happen. We're rectifying this, and then we live through that effortlessly. We don't have to try. What we have to do is rectify this. That out there is because of this up here. If that's not okay, this has to be looked at. When this is okay, then that is okay. We have to make changes, and we might not be in the right place. So I've reworded that to go from, they showed Jesus a gold coin and said to him, Caesar's men demand taxes from us. He said to them, Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, give God what belongs to God, and give me what is mine. I've reworded it to say, obey the rules of your land. Seek the higher self to let go of the grasping and heal with the aware consciousness and experience life through your current emotional state. That sounds a little too thick. I gotta clean that up. I'll leave it there for now to get this done. 101, Jesus said, Whoever does not hate his father and his mother as I do cannot become a disciple to me, and whoever does not love his father and mother as I do cannot become a disciple to me. For my mother, and then it becomes fragmentary, but my true mother gave me life. So you're going to see that we're going to have some things that kind of fit together sometimes. We just had our mother, brother, father sort of thing up there. Compare with verse 99. The end is pretty fragmented, yeah. This one also illustrates the potential reverse nature of many analogs. Hating one's mother and father means you leave your physical father and mother. This means leaving what they have taught you and programmed you to be. It is what we have become from our origins. We can love our parents, but we must hate what they blindly gave us. We are becoming aware they never did. Next, we transition to the psyche and the hierarchy of consciousness and subconsciousness. The aware and the stored as a result of the aware. This is how we live when we're not aware that that's going on. We just judge life and it becomes us, and we live through that. The question is, how do we judge it? It happens to us. Does it create hate, guilt, shame, hurtful things that we live through? Because we're holding on to those. To follow Jesus is to follow the pathway of understanding how our mind states create who we are. Compare this with Genesis 2:24 and 25. God had just created woman from man in this creation story. And 24. Therefore, a man leaves his father and his mother and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. Okay, so man and woman represent us as children becoming self-aware. We have our consciousness and our what we are becoming, our happy joy, our personality, all the things that we're looking for are all there, and they're pure. Naked and unashamed means we had not yet experienced life judgments or named our experiences. We leave the nurturing influence of our physical parents, then become our own intermarried couple or person of peace. So I've reworded that to just say, one must leave their roots and seek beyond that for enlightenment. It is. It's saying you got to move on from the past somehow. Where you came from is not where you need to be. That's just where you came from. In fact, that would work too, just letting you know you've got to leave the physical behind and rise above it. We come from the physical and we're trying to go to to live from a higher realm. Okay, 102. Jesus said, "Woe to the Pharisees, for they are like a dog sleeping in the manger of oxen, for neither does he eat nor does he let the oxen eat." Okay, this is the one that comes from Aesop's Fables, the dog in the manger. It's about 500 years older than this material. So when we look at that source up front and say this comes from Jesus the twin, we can look at this and say, yeah, there's some other stuff in here. We realize that some of it is Jesus material, but there's other stuff as well. So that's just a comment with other things tacked in here. This is not all from Jesus. Therefore, that kind of gives us permission to look closely at other things as well. There's some stuff in here that doesn't sound like Jesus. Okay, we need an interactive interpretation, though. The Pharisees teach and interpret the Word of God for the largely non-reading masses 2,000 plus years ago. What is this teaching us? What is nested in these secret teachings? Those who teach the material as factual or as a religion are not seeing the core template. They don't interact with it. They are not dining on what is truly there or mentally consuming it. They are gloriously holding the outer shell, not knowing there's an interactive template inside. As a result, those they teach are not being fed the truth either. This is like part of verse 3. The material is mental and turns inward. They are teaching supernatural something or other. Depends on the teacher and what they believe or what they wish it to mean. Think about this for a second, though. Even though they are teaching it on the surface level, they're passing it along. The way this material works is that you hear these stories and you can still take this and go, I'm not going to listen to his interpretation. I see something else going on in here. You can still make it your own. They are passing along to you what they don't even know they're passing along to you. So they're not hiding it from you. They don't see it. They're passing it along. It's up to us to find it in there. Watch out for the preachers of this material. They have no idea what it is, and so don't teach it to others. Jesus said, "Fortunate is the man who knows where the brigands will enter, so that he may get up, muster his domain, and arm himself before they invade." Does it sound like they're coming up with new stories that are the same teachings that are put in different ways? Do you recognize this one yet? We are to prepare for our cycles of pain if we are trying to get to a state of enlightenment or mental ease and a feeling of freedom in life. The brigands represents our attackers. Our attackers are our unresolved judgments that are not positive nor create positive outcomes. We must prepare, practice, and seek alternative paths. We also sit and think, you know what, this comes up and I'm triggering over this. This is what happened to me as a child that I don't have resolved. I'm dealing with it. I need to... What you're doing is you are right then and there, you are facing the pain and dealing with it. You are resolving it so that when it comes up again, it's going to just be considerably diminished in its power and intensity. And you keep doing that until it doesn't come up anymore. We're changing habituation by preparing and understanding it and desire to do so. So as we see a cycle of behavior beginning, we teach ourselves to interrupt it, thus healing further and charting new mental courses. We must habituate new life paths as we dissolve the old ones. I've reworded that to say, when you recognize cyclical patterns emerge from all, including each of us, we prepare for the ones we don't quite have resolved. We prepare a different path or understanding to bring into play as the triggering begins. Then when it tries to emerge, we stop it before it wins over us again. Further, I'll add this in there. Have to face it with objectivity. You can't look at this like a victim. Well, the reason I get triggered is because of this and that, because of that and this. You have to sit back and go, that my triggering right now has nothing to do with the issue. This is just the trigger. I got to get to the issue. Get past the ego. It's my problem, not your problem. It is my problem. We have to be able to do that. Okay, so we have to face it that way. All right, moving on to 104. They said to Jesus, "Come, let us pray today, and let us fast." And Jesus said, "What is the sin that I have committed, or wherein have I been defeated? But when the bridegroom leaves the bridal chamber, then let them fast and pray." All right, I've got compared to verses 6:14. Remember up above here, we had one that's where that, actually where that broken area was, way up here. 6:14. Yeah, where the questions were, the disciples questioned him and said to him, "Do you want us to fast? How shall we pray? Shall we give alms? What shall we observe?" What does that look like down here? They said to Jesus, "Come, let us pray today and let us fast." His disciples questioned him, "Do you want us to fast, and how shall we pray?" So you see that they're doing some replicating of something going on here. I'm going to take that out of there, just to look at the comparisons. Praying is desiring good graces. Fasting is remaining in mental quietude. This verse roughly replicates Luke 5:33 and 35. And they said to him, "The disciples of John often fast and offer prayers. The disciples of the Pharisees also do the same, but yours eat and drink." And Jesus said to them, "You cannot make the attendants of the bridegroom fast while the bridegroom is with them, can you? But the days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and they will fast in those days." You can see in the Bible they're doing the same thing. They're asking a physical question as a setup, and then it's going some off the rails. It's like, what is he even saying? It's going to a spiritual answer. So the questions are setups often, and it's about the past. Yeah, the Pharisees and John, they understood the religion. They didn't understand what's inside the religion. Okay, so let's just go through my notes here. We would interpret both of those the same way. We see they both start with fasting and prayer. This is seeking good graces. The question is why others do better than you as far as showing God their piety. Well, I don't know what that means, actually. Whatever I was thinking yesterday, I don't remember today sometimes. Okay, I'll clean this up. Let's just go ahead and stop and identify the analogs. The bridegroom is our consciousness as we seek a union with your wife or your inner self. Okay, that's a mental hierarchy. Male, female, husband, wife, bridegroom, wife. We're looking for a union with our inner self. The wedding chamber is our mind, or the temple, or the cave, or whatever. Yeah, all of these are going to be somehow holding a certain something or other. We're going inside of something. In this case, we want a union with our inner self, and it's going to be in the mind is referred to as a bridal chamber. We are divided. Attendants mean the judgments we hold. The chamber is the mind. We don't want attendance at the wedding. We want a pure wedding between us and our inner being, not other things in there. So when the conscious is acting out, which is in the bridal chamber, we cannot heal. We must step away from our emotions to ease them. We do not heal when we're acting out, but when we're done. Then we best heal them. Then better graces emerge automatically as a result of that. Also, leaving a gift at the altar is not functional as long as we maintain inner ought or conflict. We're trying to get better graces, but we're dragging issues with us. Yeah, we got to resolve that. We do so in quietude, not while being triggered. A quiet mind will experience itself and its stored hurt. We must turn to the hurt to heal it. Bartering for a better life won't do anything to help. Begging, wishing, I wish. Got to resolve the stuff. We have to resolve our issues. I've got that reworded to say receiving improvements in life happens when you have forgiven the past. We cannot forgive them while we are acting through them. We cannot eat them while they are alive, in other words. I'm going to put it back into some cryptic verbiage there. We cannot heal them while they are in force. We are acting out the effect and need to get to the cause. Yeah, while the effect is there, we can't get to the cause. When the effect is not there and we're settled down, we have to examine that, figure out what we're doing, and work on it. Illuminate it. Learn to understand it. Learn to let go. Learn to get outside of it. Learn to stop being the victim or to resolve whatever your guilt, all of that, whatever it is. 105, Jesus said, he who knows the father and the mother will be called the son of a harlot. I've got this one left incomplete. The father and the mother would be the conscious and the subconscious. Personal memory bundle and your conscious. Not just your personal memory bundle is your mother. Well, yeah, anyway. Harlot, I don't know. Yeah, this is a strange one. We get down here in the Gospel of Thomas, and sometimes there's just weird things going on. 106, Jesus said, when you make the two one, you will become the sons of man. And when you say mountain, move away, it will move away. Sons of man is used differently here than it was above. Sons of man above was you are a product of life experiences. As I live life and I look at everybody doing things, I judge what I see, and I start making, I become a son, I become a product of those experiences, which is not a good thing. Down here, suddenly, it is a good thing. When you make the two one, that's what you want, the combination. Then you will become the sons of man. So suddenly here, the son of man is a desirable thing. And when you say mountain, move away, it will move away. You see that? It's about personal unity. We have become divided in life. We now harbor things we don't wish to, but don't know how to rid them. We've become divided. Sons of man does not work here for me. Not yet, anyway. I have previously identified this as a derogatory thing. We are products of our physical judgments. In this case, they have it sounding like a positive thing, something desirable to be the Son of Man. I don't get this transition. And I put a note, it's the Gospel of Thomas after all. Yeah, this is not a pristine document. Moving mountains means life obstacles cease to be. 106, when you cease to be divided of mind, life will unfold easily. 107, Jesus said the kingdom is like a shepherd who had 100 sheep. One of them, the largest, went astray. He left the 99 sheep and looked for that one until he found it. When he had gone to such trouble, he said to the sheep, I care for you more than the 99. Remember, there was a field with a treasure in it. There was a net drawn out of the water that had one big fish and a bunch of small fish, and you threw back all the little ones and kept the big one. It's similar to verse 8 I've got here. In this case, we are the shepherd, and we have collected many things for our personal kingdom. We lost the one big thing we needed, and we went and looked for it. Connection to our higher awareness. When we seek and find it, we know to cherish it over everything else in our kingdom or life experience. So I've got that reworded to say life experiences give us many things from our garden that do not produce anything viable for us. I've got that right back to sounding like it was something not interpreted, huh? Seek to find the truth, and it will continue to grow as much as we do. Okay, 108, Jesus said, he who will drink from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become he, and the things that are hidden will be revealed to him. This is important. This is important to know. This is Jesus telling us we're all alike. Seekers are alike. Previously, when I say we need to become Jesus, this is the instruction. We need to become Jesus. We do not worship him. He walked a path and told us it works in cryptic verbiage, how it works. We are to walk that path. We are like him and he is like us. That's important when people say we are like Jesus and then they think that means there's some sort of magical, spiritual, godlike being. What they need to understand is that Jesus is like us. He's a human. We are like him and he is like us. And when that happens, we will know the secrets to life. Yeah, we have to understand this material as if it came from somebody we were rubbing elbows with, not somebody that we're supposed to worship. All right. So I've got the next one here a little bit, it's not complete, but let's cover it anyway. 109, Jesus said, the kingdom is like a man who had a hidden treasure in his field without knowing it. That's the one I just mentioned from above. And after he died, he left it to his son. The son did not know about the treasure. He inherited the field and sold it, and the one who bought it went plowing and found the treasure. He began to lend money at interest to whomever he wished. This is another one down here towards the end that kind of doesn't fit with other interpretation. Okay, so we seekers are the man, and the hidden treasure in our field is our disconnected higher awareness. It is hidden. The man dying off and the son inheriting it is analogous to the idea that our early self must be taken over by our later aware self. At first we live unaware. That's the father. The son, we take over. We, what do we have here? Yeah, he left so the man died, left it to his son. So we leave. So there's a part of us that dies off, and we're sitting here now today, holding the bag, going, what did I inherit in life here? What happened to from my unaware self? The son, the past self, didn't know it was there. We live blind to that. We sold it off, but that is to another iteration of self. We finally begin to plow our garden, and we find the treasure. That would mean we begin to look and we find the higher self. And that's all as much as I've got, because lending it money at interest is a strange thing. I don't know what that part means. Up above, you don't lend money at interest. It's a karmic thing, cause and effect. You do not want to lend money at interest to whomever you wish. That would be a derogatory thing. So somehow that verse doesn't quite seem like it was finished or squared up or something like that. All right, I'm going to move on. 110. Jesus said, whoever finds the world and becomes rich, let him renounce the world. Sounds similar to 81. Jesus said, let him who has grown rich be king, and let him who possesses power renounce it. Okay, I cannot interpret this in the psyche. It doesn't work or is very non-standard. In the physical world, it would mean if you became rich, let go of everything and disappear into your peaceful solitude without worry. Let go of the frantic world and find some peaceful seclusion. It almost directs to a monastic life without the need for a begging bowl to live by. That actually sounds very nice. If played out in the psyche, we go into analog interpretation in the mental hierarchy. World would mean my perception of life, how I experience the world. While experiencing that life, I become rich. That would not mean monetarily in the mind, but it may not be good wealth. It could be like having many sheep or many fish, but keeping the one big one. We would want to get rid of our wealth. Wealth means accumulating life's judgments. So in this verse, if we become full of life's judgments, we're supposed to forget about our life experience. I can't see how this is spiritual. We have a teaching in Proverbs which asks, please give me enough that and I'm paraphrasing this, please give me enough that I may live without worry and hunger. I do not need to be rich, or something to that. I paraphrase that heavily as I can't find the specific verse. Being poor does not allow freedom. Only in a community of support of monks does that work. There's no reason one cannot seek to live freely with all they need so that they can have time to focus on this. I keep thinking these fit the bill in rare teachings. Being without as a monk, reliant on communal care, isn't the only way. Yeah, what if you can't be a monk? What if you want to be enlightened and you don't live someplace where you can just get rid of everything and go live someplace, sleep on the floor and walk out and get your food handed to you? Here in the U.S., that's called homelessness. And it's very frowned upon. That's not what we want. So this one sounds almost like a physical one. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I interpret it to say, when you have enough to leave the world behind, do it. Become the guru on the mountain. If you're busy trying to feed yourself every day, you don't have time for this. You need to have enough to where you have time for this. That's viable. As a physical experience. Okay. Jesus said, the heavens and the earth will be rolled up in your presence, and the one who lives from the living will not see death. Does not Jesus say, whoever finds himself is superior to the world? This sounds like a blend too. It's a bizarre thing. Jesus said, and then in the same thing, does not Jesus say? Jesus wouldn't be saying, does not Jesus say? That's like referring to himself in the third person. So there's something weird in here that doesn't work. The heavens and the earth rolled up in your presence are not verbally familiar sounding to me right now. The one who lives from the living will not see death means when we live from our higher awareness and self-healing, gentle, forgiving self, we remain detached from emotional hurt and the trappings of our unresolved memories. That's called life. And if we don't do that, it's called death. It's a spiritual death. How's your life? Are you in charge or not? This verse sounds convoluted. Jesus said, and then does not Jesus say? They sound poorly blended together and slightly modified from other verses. They're experimenting with creating a larger collection, but repeating the lessons. Whoever finds himself is superior to the world. World is our physical experience. When we find and understand our inner self, we become superior to, or rather we rise above the accumulation of our physical experiences. We let go and rise above. This still sounds like a three-source verse. Heavens and earth rolled up. Living from the higher self we are alive. And whoever finds himself is superior to. Yeah, anyway, could heaven and earth rolled up in your presence mean the higher self and the physical self become one in your world or similar? I don't know. It's a bizarre one. I've got here as best I could. You will become one in mind and physical experience. The one who lives from the higher self will not live through their past. When you come to understand your life when you come to understand that your life experience emerges from inside you, you will overcome those experiences. Could be. 112, Jesus said, woe to the flesh that depends on the soul, woe to the soul that depends on the flesh. Sounds similar to 29 and 87. Jesus said, wretched is the body that is dependent upon the body, and wretched is the soul dependent on those two. Flesh is our manifest life, or what we experience. Soul is our life memory bundle we experience our life through. This one is much simpler than 87. I've got it down as blind is the life that comes from what we have within. Yeah, when we're living from our memories, that's blindness. Woe to the life within, as it is there due to the way we perceive life. Yeah, we become products of our thinking. It's like they're adding additional, they're reiterating things on the end. Here, add this in. Try it this way. Throw some more stuff in. It looks like a blend that wasn't quite sorted out and completed yet. Jesus said, or 113, his disciples said to him, when will the kingdom come? It will not come by waiting for it. It will not be a matter of saying, here it is or there it is. Rather, the kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth and men do not see it. Okay, variant of some of verse 3. They're asking when the kingdom of heaven will come for them to live. They're asking about the supernatural world and looking toward the sky. He tells them what they seek is already here right now and it's everywhere. And further, that people don't get it. I've got that to say, do not wait for the kingdom to arrive. It is here now, but it is not recognized until you see it. 114, Simon Peter said to him, let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life. Jesus said, I myself shall lead her in order to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit resembling you males. For every woman who will make herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven. All right, what do I have here? This one isn't typical for a Jesus collection of verses. It shifts to a heavily patriarchal sound, and that wasn't Jesus. I suspect male in this verse can be replaced with not divided. It is what we seek. Mary would be a part of the mind that isn't resolved yet, and the resolved parts of us want it gone, our inner self. We struggle with it. Males are analogous to various disciples. But again, this is dark for the Jesus saying. This is one of the verses in the Gospel of Thomas that to me further shows it's a blend or was being added to by later scribes with different ideas. Jesus always taught a marriage and never that women should be made like a man. Jesus teaches to make the male not be like male and the female not be like female, if anything. This is not a Jesus verse, in my opinion. Simon Peter, above, verse 13, called him righteous. It's the only other time he was mentioned in here. But the secret was not disclosed to him. It was not him that got the secret. It's the only other time he's mentioned in the Gospel of Thomas. Why would someone who didn't get the secrets passed along be a living spirit? What is a living spirit? An awakened one? Mary will be the inner self. We need to love our inner self like Jesus loves Mary. But remember, the inner self is actually our memory bundle. We do not want to make it, we do want to make it pure. That's all good. Yeah, that makes sense. But the male being a pure spirit falls outside the rest of Jesus-sounding material. The verse seems to allude to the common idea of self-healing by letting go. We wish to become a pure spirit, but this was for a different audience than Jesus' regular material. So I've just got that reworded to say, I will work with my inner self till I am a pure being, and I have let it all go. All right, yay, we made it to the end. Okay. So I guess to wrap it up, some general overall thoughts. When I first read the Gospel of Thomas, it astounded me. I just loved this thing. It was a collection of sayings that was somehow rich and deep. It catches your attention. You recognize the stuff you know from Jesus, but you see other stuff in there. And that got my attention like it does with a lot of people. And as I worked at interpreting, and as I kind of branched out and learned other things, I began to realize what the Gospel of Thomas was. But I also realized primarily, before that even, that there is a healing sequence that is known in the background, that there is a way to utilize this material to turn inward to self-heal, and that is pervasive throughout all cultures from antiquity. It's not just here in the Gospel of Thomas. So having said that, what I recognize as the Gospel of Thomas is a collection of verses and things that are built on that teaching structure, that when you interpret them, it's a self-healing thing, but it's held in a flavor that is for the people of that time to carry. I want my story. What do we have? Everybody has their stuff. What do we have? So everybody gets their stories, but they're staying on that sequential template. The Gospel of Thomas, when you interpret it like this, reads like Buddha's Dhammapada when you interpret it like this, or reads like Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching when you interpret it like this. And those are just the small ones. When you get into the big stories, it does the same thing. But the Gospel of Thomas, I can see after interpreting that there are some variations in there, that there are some things that don't line up. I don't find that work anywhere in Jesus' material except in the Gospel of Thomas. The fact that there's some things in there that don't square with his teaching, that whole male and Mary thing, the obvious inclusion of it's not word for word as Aesop's fable, but it's very, if you read it, you'll see that it's very evidently that's what it is. But it works with the teaching. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it being there. But you begin to understand that this is not Jesus Christ did not sit down and preach this, and this is his word. That did not happen. There may have been a part of this that could have been done that way, the very Jesus-sounding stuff, but it was added to. And at the end of the day, you still get they're still putting in the psychological material. In the end, where it's not sounding quite right, it seems to me like almost as if somebody is experimenting with trying out new things and they didn't quite work right yet. They're trying to vary what's above and reword it down below, like they're thinking through processing it and trying to make something different. And this is as far as they got. And that's the document that we have. That's what it looks like to me after I interpret it. And seeing that there are some inconsistencies and it's a fun thing, but it's a good thing. So the next video I'm going to make is going to be reading every one of my interpretations. I'm going to skip some. You can see some in there that are fragmentary, but also that don't make enough sense that I can't unwrap the analogous terminology. It doesn't work in the psyche. I haven't been able to connect the wiring to make this thing work, all of them. But then looking at the rest of the document, you go, you know what? It's not pristine. Don't put something into it that might not be there. I got to be careful. I'm not forcing things into it. I'm pretty confident with what I have, even though I've been told by people, you're just putting what you want to in there. I think this is something you have to do on your own. I think if you look at these as a puzzle, I'm walking around in antiquity. This is I need something in life. People need something. There's thousands of people walking around with no media. They're carrying water and cutting rocks and making textiles. I don't know, people are looking for work. They're doing things. But this would be something that you would have to work out as a mental puzzle all the time. I see that as something that's a very viable idea. And if we treat them that way, I think that we can understand them. But that's what you have to do. You have to treat it that way. You have to work it out in your mind until you can take this little verbiage puzzle and go, what are these? It doesn't mean what they mean. They fit someplace and the words change into something different. And when you figure that out, the anchored ship cannot sail. That's a simple one. I'm hanging on to something I can't go free. That's what they're doing. It just gets deeper and deeper, and it's very old. We know what an anchor in a ship is. We don't know what their weird stuff is. Sometimes we have to figure out what they're doing. Have to pretend like we're there. Anyway, I hope this series was fun. I'm going to end it. It got pretty big. It's a lot of work, actually. I think that I don't even believe that this is complete, what I've done. I don't think that I've given it its full justice, although I think I've done something that I don't see anyone else has done. And I believe it to be true because I find this elsewhere. It's not the only place. It's one of many places. All right, hope it was fun. And next video, yeah, I'll read my interpretation straight out through there. Just see what it sounds like. See you in that video. Take care.